Hello everybody, it's Finn here. Another video, another day. Here we go. When I got back to London from Finland on the January 2016, I felt really conflicted. In one sense, I was trying to figure out my future and try to plan where I go next. And another way, I was really sad to lose the house and especially the dog. And part of me didn't really accept the reality that I had to move out. I was getting increasingly energetic and I started sleeping less. I felt close to Alejandro. I still felt like I had the telepathic connection with him and I felt like he was sending me messages. In reality, when I was bumping into him at the house, he was very friendly towards me and kind, which I really appreciated. Subniv was trying to get hold of me. He was trying to contact me. He said that I was out of the house at the time and he said, I'm coming to you. I'm going to come to your house now. And I said to him, don't come. I'll call the police if you come. I don't want to see you anymore. And he said, no, I have a gift for you. I'm going to come and I'm going to give it to you. So in a WhatsApp group chat to my housemates, I told them that if Subniv comes, don't tell him where I was, and that I told them that I don't want to see Subniv anymore. He came in and my housemate, this Irish guy, John, took the letter and the gift that Subniv had given me. And I told John to throw it out, throw it in the garbage, and he did. So to this day, I don't know what was in that gift. The fact that Subniv came to the house, even though I told him that he wasn't welcome and I even threatened him with the cops, really freaked me out. I was really scared. And he continued trying to get hold of me and he was messaging my friends and other people and saying that he was worried about me. And he was very, very concerned about me and that he needed to find me. I told Subniv that I was madly in love with someone who has been in my life for a while. I didn't tell him who it was, but that's what I said to him. And that got him to message my ex-husband, Nathan, because he knew I was still friends with Nathan. And Nathan was like, what's going on? Like, why is this guy messaging me? And he's saying that he's concerned about you and what's happening. And I told Nathan to tell Subniv that I have been hospitalized and that I'll be away for a while. And at that point, I wasn't obviously hospitalized. I wasn't sectioned yet, but that's what I wanted to tell Subniv. Subniv had from the start told me that he's very against smoking, that smoking is a deal breaker to him because of his religion. He was a Sikh, and he explained to me that their guru or their spiritual leader had a horse that freaked out when there was a tobacco field, and ever since that there was a thing for Sikhs not to smoke cigarettes. And at that point I wanted to repel Subniv, so I started smoking, and I even, as my WhatsApp profile picture, I had an image of me smoking a cigarette. But even that didn't work. He was still messaging me. At the house share I was living in, they were arranging viewings for people to look. They were looking for a housemate to move in. And I was becoming increasingly paranoid. I was convinced that some of them were reading my diary. And I had these feelings of anger that I tried to suppress, but they were bubbling in. I was particularly upset with the Finnish housemate I had, who was the owner of Tikkari, and the fourth housemate, and I felt like they mostly wanted me out, that John and Alejandro were more indifferent about me moving out. And I was trying to deal with those feelings, but I couldn't. I acted out of the anger that I had, and I made a mess at the house. I threw some bath salt and soap on the mirror in the communal bathroom, and I smudged this mirror painting, and I wrote on it, "I'm a dick," and then I threw this like chess set on the living room floor and things like that. I went out of the house, and I started to feel bad about it. I came back and my housemates were there, and I apologized to them, and I cleaned up the mess that I had caused. I started to sleep even less, and my thoughts were going around in really weird circles, and I didn't know what to do next. I was spending less and less time at the house, and I was sleeping at different friends of mine houses all around London. And at the time, Nathan, my Kiwi ex-husband, was becoming worried about me too. But because Subniv had become worried about me first, and the fact that someone was concerned about me, and also my housemates were concerned about me. All that concern, I felt like before, well, Nathan I trusted, but these people, my housemates who wanted to get rid of me, and Subniv, who had been not the greatest, being worried about me. I was really, really confused about these worries, and I started to hear it more and more. Also, before making the mess, I had sent a threatening message to my housemates. It was really weird, like something really illogical, and something like, "Oh, something bad will happen and you've done something wrong, and I know some bad people." And I regretted sending that message, and I felt horrible about it. So I called police, and I told the police that I had sent them that kind of message, and that I don't know what to do. And the police was like, do they have a right to kick you out of the house? Are they in the right to do so? Like lawfully? And I said no. And she was like, "Don't worry about it. Just, you've apologized, you move on," they move on. I was sleeping at my friend's Hannah's house. She was living in this like Jewish community house in London. It's called Moshe House, and I was her guest there. And I went back to the house share in Ealing to pick up some belongings, and something really weird started happening. I picked some stuff up and I left the house, and I took at that time there wasn't Uber yet, so I booked a cab to take me back to the Moshe House. And every sign that was on the road turned to say Neasden. Everything said Neasden, 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 and I didn't know what it meant. And I didn't understand, at the time I didn't know that I was hallucinating, but that was happening. The following morning I woke up at the Moshe House, the Jewish community house, and I felt like someone or something was like that. So someone was slicing my left wrist, someone was cutting it, and I felt like screaming, and I don't know if I screamed when I woke up, but I woke up to the feeling, and I was like, something is going wrong, something really bad is happening. And I thought that was a message from Alejandro, that he was harming himself. And I was really confused. I rang up my friend, who is really spiritual, and I said, I had this feeling and I feel like Alejandro's going to harm himself. And she said, you need to get to him and you need to make sure that he's fine. So Moshe House is in Wilson Green, near Wilson Green, and it's quite far away from Ealing. But I started I had never walked that distance. It wasn't really a familiar road to me. So I walked from Wilson Green to Ealing to the house share. And I was convinced that Alejandro was harming himself and that he was suffering badly. So I walked and I crossed this really busy highway, and there wasn't any traffic lights or any zebra crossing, and I just walked across the road, and all the cars were honking at me and beeping at me, and they stopped, and for whatever reason I survived that walk, that I didn't manage to get myself killed. And I got to Ealing, to the house share, and I saw Alejandro, and he was fine. He wasn't harming himself, and I said, and I was like, I was so concerned about you, and I was crying, and then Alejandro said to me, but you're not calm, and I was like, no, well, no kidding, of course I'm not calm. And then the dog, Tikkari, came to comfort me. She was like trying to be in my lap and trying to make me feel better. And then Alejandro said something really cryptic. He said tomorrow in Nisden Temple at 11 a.m. something will, like, he said it really weirdly, and then he talked about some other temple, and I didn't know what he was talking about. And then we ended the conversation, and I went to the bathroom, and I saw myself, and I had makeup all over my face because I had been crying. But then I was like, okay, now I need to get back to Wilson Green. And I thought, because I had left all my money and my phone and everything to the Moshe house, the Jewish community house, I thought I didn't have any way to get back home. But then I found cash in my pocket, and there was like £40, and I managed to get a cab there. In my next video, I will be talking about weird mystical things happening at the Nisden Temple. Nisden Temple is a Hindu temple in London. Until tomorrow, take care. Mwah.